Trump. Ukraine peace deal was nearly 95% done.
North Korea declares unlimited development of nuclear forces.
Nghệ An stabilizes market prices for the year-end season.
You're watching today's news on NTV channel. My name is Zhang, your host. U.S. President Donald Trump said negotiations to end the conflict in Ukraine are closer than ever to a peace agreement, with about 95% of the draft deal already completed.
Well, thank you very much.
Trump made the remarks after a 3-hour meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago, Florida. He described the talks as excellent and said the two sides had nearly reached agreement on a security pact, though he acknowledged that several thorny territorial issues still need to be resolved. For his part, Ukraine President confirmed that more than 90% of the 20-point peace plan has been agreed upon. He also stressed that all territorial issues must comply with the Constitution and be decided by the Ukrainian people through a referendum. Just ahead of the meeting, President Trump also held a phone call lasting more than 1 hour with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two leaders expressed their desire for a lasting, peaceful solution and agreed to establish working groups on economic and security issues.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has overseen a long-range strategic cruise missile launch drill in the Yellow Sea and reaffirmed Pyongyang's policy of developing its nuclear combat forces without limits.
According to KCNA, the drill was conducted to test the counterattack readiness and combat capabilities of long-range missile units. The strategic cruise missiles flew along preset trajectories over waters west of the Korean peninsula and hit their intended targets as planned. Kim expressed satisfaction with the results, stating that regularly testing the reliability and rapid response capabilities of nuclear deterrence components is essential amid mounting security challenges. The North Korean leader emphasized that the Workers' Party of Korea and the government will continue to devote all efforts to strengthening national nuclear power as the foundation for long-term security and defense.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính said the government plans to invest nearly 700 trillion VND in healthcare and education over the next 10 years to improve the material and spiritual well-being of the people.
At the voter contact in Can Tho province, the Prime Minister said that based on the investment policy for the National Target Program on Healthcare, Population and Development for the 2026-2035 period approved at the 10th session of the 15th National Assembly, the government will instruct the Ministry of Health to urgently finalize procedures to decide on investing in a program comprising 5 projects with total resources of around 100 trillion VND. The program will focus on strengthening grassroots healthcare, preventive medicine, public health care, and support for vulnerable groups. At the same time, the government has submitted to the National Assembly the investment policy for the National Target Program on modernizing and improving the quality of education and training for 2026-2035, with total resources exceeding VND 580 trillion, aimed at developing human resources and promoting higher education and high-quality training. The Prime Minister stressed that investing in healthcare and education means investing in people, laying the foundation for rapid and sustainable national development.
Coming up next are some updated news.
This morning, the Nghệ An Provincial National Assembly delegation held a ceremony marking the 80th anniversary of the first general election to elect the National Assembly of Vietnam and reviewing the activities of the provincial delegation for the 15th term, 2021-2026 tenure. Over 80 years of formation and development, the National Assembly has always accompanied the nation, affirming its vital role at major historical turning points. Throughout the proud 80-year journey, the Nghệ An National Assembly delegation, through various terms, with 223 delegates, have continued the revolutionary tradition, bringing the pulse of life into parliamentary forms, and conveying voters' voices into the country's major policies.
The Prime Minister has signed a decision on supplementary funding from the 2025 central budget for localities to present gifts from the party and state on the occasion of the 14th National Party Congress and the Lunar New Year of 2026. Nationwide, more than VND 2.513 trillion will be allocated. Nghệ An province alone will receive nearly VND 114 billion to present gifts to nearly 285,000 beneficiaries. Each gift is worth VND 400,000 in cash, demonstrating the party and state's care for people with meritorious service and vulnerable groups so they can enjoy a warm and meaningful traditional Tet.
Amid rising travel demand during the 2026 New Year holiday, airlines and the railway sector have proactively increased capacity to serve passengers. From January 1 to 4, 2026, Vietnam Airlines plans to add nearly 270 flights, providing about 45,000 additional seats on key routes between Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and major tourist destinations. Meanwhile, the Railway Transport Joint Stock Company will operate additional short-distance passenger trains and add carriages to regular services, supplying about 20,000 extra seats during this period.
In the final days of 2025, consumer shopping demand had increased sharply compared with other times of the year. In response, authorities and sectors in Nghệ An province are implementing comprehensive and decisive measures to stabilize market prices, ensure adequate supply, and maintain stable prices to meet consumers' needs.
Nam Long Trading Coins Ltd, one of the enterprises selected by the Nghệ An Department of Industry and Trade to participate in the year-end price stabilization program. From the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2025, the company proactively built a goods reserve plan, focusing on essential items serving the consumer needs of the people.
To ensure good supply for Tet, our company has signed agreements with the Department of Industry and Trade, as well as manufacturers and suppliers to guarantee sufficient goods, increasing product volumes by about 20 to 30% compared to last year.
Surveys at retail counters, traditional markets, and distribution systems across the province show that prices of essential goods this year are relatively stable. Some items have seen slight increases, but remain within control. At the moment, market prices have risen somewhat, but our products are still being sold at stable prices to serve consumers. To keep the year-end market stable, since the end of the third quarter, the Nghệ An Provincial People's Committee has directed relevant departments to develop price stabilization plans and balance supply and demand. Interdisciplinary inspection teams have also been set up to strengthen checks and controls, promptly preventing hoarding, unreasonable price hikes, smuggling, and trade fraud.
This is the year-end period when goods circulation increases, so we have focused on leadership and direction work, especially instructing grassroots units and market management teams to closely monitor their areas, strengthen management, and promptly grasp and handle information.
Price stabilization efforts for the 2025 year-end season in Nghệ An are not only of immediate significance, but also form a foundation for building a stable and sustainable market in the long term, helping enhance state management efficiency, strengthen public and business confidence, and promote local socio-economic development.
It's the end of today's news. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.